Hello YouTube, my name is Cyrazan and I talk about anything you can find on the internet. Today's topic, something you probably can't find on the internet, at least not easily, and that's the super obscure mystery of FWD 7, or Forward 7. As you can see here, FWD 7 is located at the bottom of this pretty comprehensive internet mysteries iceberg. Now, this mystery is pretty weird because it revolves around emails, somehow has vague ties to the 2005 London bombings, and there are claims that it's algorithmically suppressed. Every once in a while, I cover internet mysteries on my channel, and sometimes viewers come in with really good info after I make a video on said topic. That's how we found the Lost Boogergate videos that gave us the wonderful privilege of seeing Michael Setzer wipe his ass with the sponge, and then proceed to clean Domino's cookware with it, and that's also how we uncovered the artist behind the teddy bear in the Teddy creepypasta. So today, I hope somebody comes out of the woodwork with an answer to this, because I am stumped. And the thing about this mystery, FWD7, is it could be a conspiracy, it could be a hoax, or it could just be an old internet shenanigan thing. So in the late 90s to maybe early 2010s, email chains were pretty common. You know, forward this email to 5 people or else the boogeyman's gonna get you in your sleep. But somewhere on the darker end of these emails was something called FWD7, and you know, it followed the lines of share this email with 7 people or the 7th image will be you. And contained in this email supposedly were 7 images, with the first 6 being pretty mundane images like office plants or hallways, but the thing is, the 7th image was a little different. It was supposedly a picture of a dead body. To be more specific and using a direct quote from one of the only sources I could find on it, it was a young woman lying face down on a concrete floor, wrists bound with surgical tape, and a crimson 7 painted on her back. Now, information on FWD7 is very, very incredibly scarce. Most of the search results you can get for it, from Googling it, Google dorking it, Yandex, the Internet Archive, is mainly just people asking about it or talking about it, and super small references in other websites. There's no legitimately substantial information about this. I actually found out about FWD7 because a user on Reddit kept spam posting about it on internet mystery and conspiracy adjacent subreddits, and when somebody's that persistent about a topic, it actually got me intrigued, so I took the time to actually read what they had to say. And all the posts pretty much went something like this. When digging through the complete internet iceberg, I came across an entry at the very bottom titled FWD7. I dug through Reddit, YouTube, and anything that had mentioned it before, but information is extremely scarce. From the very little information I've been able to find on it, it seems to be an email chain spread around likely in the early 2000s that linked to a dead or injured body. The source is unknown, and I'm unsure where the name FWD7 even came from. Some conspiracy theorists link it to the government involvement in the 2005 London bombings, but the correlation is pretty unclear. I doubt the email itself, if even real, could be found, but I'm wondering if anyone has any recollection or information about it at all. It's mentioned in this video around the 57-minute mark, but again, information is scarce, and the 4chan thread he is referencing has little to nothing other than the post the YouTuber put on screen. Help appreciated. Here's the clip that they're talking about.
FWD7. I could find very little information on FWD7. Whatever it is, it's really obscure and isn't very well documented. I found this old archived 4chan thread where this guy explains that something called FWD7 was some old email scam that led to a dead body, and that it's hard to find. This is probably what FWD is referring to. I've also heard some other people, though, think that this is related to some conspiracy theory related to the July 7th, 2005 London bombings. It's some conspiracy theory about the government really being behind the bombings. I'm not going to go any further in depth into it because I don't want to propagate conspiracy theories and having the YouTube hounds tracking me down. It's referring to one of these two things, though.
Now, in one of these comment sections, somebody actually dropped a link to a website, and that was the website I mentioned earlier. And this website will come up if you search FWD7 on Yandex, and it has some information about FWD7, but the problem is it is an AI-generated article, and it doesn't actually cite any of the sources. It is an interesting read, I'm not gonna lie. And there are some dots that you can connect, like it does reference things that I can go find independently, but there are also some things that are said in the article that I cannot verify. But this website seems to be like the only website or article or anything that actually explains it in detail. Every other website that mentions it is kind of like, somebody talked about it at some point, or, you know, maybe FWD7 exists, who knows? I'm gonna read you some bits and pieces from the website just to kind of give you a summary. And again, I apologize, it's AI generated, but the information might actually have some substantial things in it. I think some parts of this article go pretty far into the conspiracy realm. Where it all began, the chainmail of doom. Veteran Anons traced the first public mention to a now-purged X thread titled FWD7 What Is This? Dated August 2nd, 2011. A user posted MD5 hashes for 7 JPEGs attached to a decades-old corporate email he claimed to have intercepted while pen-testing a private DoD contractor. 6 images were mundane stock photos, office plants, vacant corridors. The 7th, labeled image0007.jpg, showed a young woman lying face down on a concrete floor, wrists bound with surgical tape, a crimson 7 painted on her back. Her location was a mystery, her fate obvious. Holy AI, Batman. Minutes after the thread went live, the OP stopped responding. Screenshots survive only as low-res reposts on Reddit's Internet Mysteries and archived on an 8kun thread. And I was able to use Yandex to find the exact thread, and sadly these images that were on here are gone. They're not archived anywhere, so any screenshots of the email that this is saying were there are not there anymore, which kinda sucks. People who have viewed the original file, or one of its hashes, describe the same details with uncanny consistency. A bare cinder block room lit by a single sodium lamp, a warning placard on the wall, TGA, GS, gray spacing, Bay 4, a stainless steel drain beneath the body, and dried residue suggesting earlier specimens. Dried residue in specimens? What the hell is Johnny Sins doing? Forensics hobbyists extracted EXIF data before the image disappeared from mainline hosts. Embedded IPTC tags read, and it says here the latitude-longitude plot places the room beneath London's Bermondsey district, coincidentally 2 train stops from the 2005 London Underground bombings. Does this actually mean that it's connected to the 2005 London Underground bombings? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, this could just be a total coincidence. This is probably just a correlation fallacy. I don't think just because it's near where something happened has anything to do with what happened. Now, the next part is weird, and I can't find anything to substantiate any of this, so please take it with a grain of salt, but this is where the conspiracy gets a little crazy. It starts talking about medical trials on people who have been abducted, and somehow through playing connect the dots, this article makes the assertion that FWD7 is documenting a weaponized prion. Prion, not peon. For those of you who don't know, prions make normal proteins fold abnormally, and as far as I know, prion diseases are pretty much uncurable, and they just are kind of a death sentence. They kind of just like undo you from the inside. The buried coordinates weren't the only smoking gun, and the maker notes section lurked a 2-word string: Mortimer Protocol. Decompiling US congressional budget PDFs reveal Mortimer line items buried in DARPA allocations for autonomous trauma fieldwork beginning fiscal year 1998. Fieldwork on live humans. Add a FOIA leaked invoice from a contractor, Korsky Fletcher Biodevices, listing GS grayscale housing modules, and the picture sharpens. Clandestine medical trials on abductees operated out of decommissioned civil defense tunnels. Researchers notice that TGA-GS echoes a real file format, .tga, plus the phrase grayscale. Gray spacing, in InfoSec jargon, describes hiding data in the gray values of an image, stenography. Combine that with the rumored grayscale pathogen, a calcifying prion said to turn flesh to ceramic, and you have the working hypothesis. FWD7 documents human testing of a weaponized prion whose carriers become silent couriers, stone still, presumed dead until detonated by endocrine triggers. Victim number 7 may have been mid-calcification. The crimson numeral was not paint, but phenolphthalein, used in biolab pH assays. That's the part that kind of goes off the rails a bit for me. Normally, I don't subscribe to conspiracies like this at all. I think this was seriously just an email chain with a dead body attached to it and people just being edgy. I do think that this email probably did exist because, like, why wouldn't it? Just an email chain with dead bodies in it. You know, in the early 2000s, people loved to be edgy for no reason at all. People do the same shit now. The next segment of this article talks about how FWD7 is being suppressed. Google once produced thousands of matches. Today, results auto-collapse to, did you mean FWD7 passenger minivan? Now, I don't think that this necessarily means suppression. I think that the algorithms just kind of assume that you're looking for something that's probably more popular than email chains with dead bodies, because obviously there are conspiracies where algorithms suppress everything, but I think that some of the things that might be suppressed that we think are suppressed is just an overwhelming amount of things that could just match your search result. Like, obviously, if you type in FWD, you're gonna get a bunch of front-wheel drive vehicles. You're gonna get a bunch of anything that could be abbreviated to FWD. I mean, it's a super incredibly vague term. Website snapshots 404 overnight. YouTube channels covering the theory rack up strikes for graphic content even when they blur the image. Reddit bans whole comment chains the moment the hashes are posted. Now, here's one of the very loose dots that we can connect here. It mentions YouTube channels getting strikes. And I did find a YouTube channel that comes up on Yandex when you search FWD7. However, the whole channel has been wiped due to community guidelines violations. This could be the channel that the article is referencing. And like I said before, this really kind of pisses me off that the article did not include any sources, but I really can't expect more from an AI-generated article anyways. But clearly there might be some truths in this article regarding the fact that we found the thread that it mentioned, and this might be the YouTube channel that it's talking about. In this article, it also mentions something about whistleblowers and people who vanished, although I couldn't find anything on any of these people, so I have no idea if this is true. And there's more to this article, but I don't necessarily think it's relevant right now, but I'll link the article in the description for everyone to look at, so if you do want to get involved in this search, you're not missing any information. Now, there are a couple other websites that do mention FWD7, but they don't provide any mind-blowing information. For instance, there's this website that kind of just tells us what we already know. FWD7 was an alleged email scam that was related to a dead body in some way. How it was related and why is unknown, as the case is very obscure. A popular speculation is that the emails were something along the lines of, forward this to 7 people or else this will be you, with an image of a dead body attached to the email, but this remains unconfirmed. Personally, I think what this tiny little section right here says is probably just the whole thing, but I could be entirely wrong. It's hard to make any sort of determination on this when there's such little information. This website also says pretty much everything we already know. Old email scam that led to a dead body, hard to find, and it links to some articles about the 2005 bombings. There's an archived thread on the 4chan paranormal board where it says, what is FWD7? And there's 3 non-answers that clearly don't pertain to what the person was actually asking. So other than those websites and Reddit posts that I've showed you, there isn't much more information that I could find to really go off of. Anything else is kind of Reddit comment section speculation about the topic, and in these comment sections there's some conflicting information because some people can actually recall and some people are adamant that it's just a hoax. This could be something, or it could just be a huge nothing burger. Now, if it is real and it's not just a hoax, these emails might actually be lying in somebody's old inbox if they are chain emails. And that leads me to ask you, the viewer, what do you think about this? Do you know anything about this? Leave a comment with your thoughts, and if you have super serious information, feel free to apply to my Discord, and you can dump all the information that you have in the Internet Mysteries channel. Or if you just want to join the Discord to talk and hang out and share memes and yap about whatever the hell you want to yap about, feel free to do that too. If I get any more information about this, I'll definitely make a follow-up video. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.